This documentary is about Marco from the Quinlent kennels and his passion for sports with the bull breeds. Marco is the founder of the Dutch Stafford Athletics, in short Deze, which is now organized in many countries under the flag of the Stafford Olympics.
Marco, how did your love for animals and dogs in particular develop?
I come from rather traumatic childhood experiences, a lot of. And there was a situation when I was a kid that having contact with people was very difficult, and I came in a situation where there were a lot of dogs and a lot of animals, horses, sheep, fowl, pigeons, everything. And it was the only contact that really could comfort me at that time in my life. And I didn't talk much to people. I didn't like to talk to people at all. And from there on, I learned to understand the animals more and more and more. I developed a certain insight in them, in their needs, and in how they communicate. Get fascinated, and it was with everything, and I never stepped out of it. I can still be fascinated just by studying birds and their behavior. And the dogs, the dog has the quality to bring you the warmest comfort in the most uncomfortable situation. And that's a connection that I understood at a very young age, and I think that exactly there is where everything started for me. I think that is it. That's that moment.
What does dog sports mean to you?
To me, dog sports. Dog sports, the way we do it, is a test. And no test, no testimony. So it's a very vital thing, it's very important. To me it's really important. As a breeder it's very important, as a dog trainer it's very important. You need to test. And the sports that we do is a test. It's a multidisciplinary test. And that means a lot to me. On the other hand, it's also something that brings in, how to say, it brings the connection. It's a part of the connection. If you do not go out with your dogs, if you do not want to see what they're capable of, there's no connection. It's just owning. And I think that owning is a sad thing when you're into dogs. And I think sharing moments with your dog, experiences with your dog, is a lot more valuable than just saying I own, or I have, or I possess. I always look at them as something that I say, and that is from a sentimental perspective, I think. They're not my property, they're my friends. And that shows in dog sports. And that's what dog sports means to me. It's a connection with a friendship. How do I say that in English? It is. It's the expression of a connection, of a friendship I started when it was the only thing I could rely on. It was the only thing I could rely on. That's what it is.
Marco has always been in nature since he was young. Nature has always played an important role in his life.
Moi qui ai vécu sans scrupule, vraiment rire sans remords.
When one day a neglected pit bull, which was roaming around, did not leave his side, he took the dog home and called him Bo. He took good care of him and he started to learn more about this type of dogs. Marco and his wife Jeanine have 2 children, Quinten and Lente. From these 2 names, his kennel name Quinlent was later created. His children have been taken into the woods and fields from a young age. Quinten and Lente grew up with the Staffies and actively participated in dog sports. Quinten is still active in this, now together with his girlfriend.
Vivre, même sans soleil, même sans été. Vivre, vivre, c'est ma dernière volonté. Ik zal mijn vrienden niet vergeten, want wie me lief is, blijft me.
How did your passion for dog sports develop?
Along the way. And it took a lot of different turns. And it resulted in what we do now. There was I like to be active a lot. I really like to go out. I want to be in the field. I want to be in the forest, bring the dogs. And well, when we first had Bo, way back in the day, I could do everything. If I had to go to retriever, I could go to a hunting club, you know. And I could do a hunt training with him if I'd have a Malinois or a German Shepherd or a Doberman or an Airedale Terrier. It doesn't really matter. When they're big enough, you could do IPO back in the day and shoot hunt and stuff like that. And there were a lot of activities for everything. And well, these were fighting dogs. For fighting dogs, besides fighting, there wasn't much to do, and fighting was illegal. So I developed the idea and to give them a sport of their own, and it was that was the beginning of the development of the passion I have today, and I think I will never lose that passion in my life. I will stick to this because I think it is the most valuable thing for dogs. For these dogs to be part of, so I'll stick to it. There's so much. There's so much possible, and but there's so much more impossible. As soon as you start into dogs, so much, totally impossible. A lot of people think. How do you say that about dogs? Is that it's also the problem with breeds, is that they think very, very rigid. When they are that, they should be doing that. When the nuance is most of the time is gone. And in the sports, what we do is, and that's the beauty of it, and I think that's why I become so passionate about it, is it makes everything so clear. It puts everything clean on the table, and that's such a wonderful thing to be part of. That's one thing. That's one thing how it developed, how the passion for the sports developed. And on the other hand, I feel so utterly privileged, utterly privileged, that with the ideas I had and the things that we did and the sports that we are doing, I inspired people all over the world to do the same, and that's such a beautiful thing. Such a beautiful thing. And I think it's the passion that made people follow to do the same thing with their dogs. And, yeah. It's along the way. It's along the way. But it was always growing and growing. It was always growing. And it's always when you start with a new puppy, whatever in the back of your head, like we have now with our little Zulu that we have, you know. And you're already, when you see it moving and what it's doing, I'm already looking at the behavior. How is it developing? How can I channel that? How can I? It's already working. It's already going on. The connection is in that perspective already made, and with that the passion has got a new tree on the fire. You know? So it developed. I'll say it like this. It developed as how nature functions. It just happens. It just happens. You do one step, and there's one train passing by. Yeah. It just happens, and that's how it is.
What do you remember from the first training sessions?
First training session from the club, with the club.
Yeah, or your own?
My own. Oh no, yeah, no, a lot. Each year, when we organize it at Stafford Athletics, we do that in a place. It's called het Zand, and in that place I started training my dogs. There was a sandy ground, there was a river, there's forest, there was perfect surroundings. And back in those days it was quiet. It wasn't as crowded as it is today with people and dogs and everything. You could walk there all day and not meet one person. It's something that suits me very well. And I started developing things. I started flirt poling with a 9 meter long fishing pole. Let them swim along the river. I let them hang in trees. I used a ute bag and knotted to a tree, and I let the dogs have fun with it. I let them race over sand. These are the first trainings, and sometimes I was out 6:30 in the morning just to make sure that there was nobody there, so the dogs didn't get a fight with other dogs or whatever. Those were the first moments. The first moments of what eventually became the sports we do today. Those trainings, and it wasn't training in that perspective. In a way that you train to develop for a purpose. But I did that to keep them exercised, mentally healthy, and stuff like that. And those were the first moments. There's a thing that when I walked there so many times, and I worked the dog so many times over there, that I can hear him. Yeah. No, leave it. The difficult thing is that life. And a life with dogs means that you say goodbye a lot of times to something that you very deeply love. And that's stuff. Especially in what we do. The connection becomes so intense That is really like something inside you dies. And when I walk there and I just see the same old trees, the roots coming out of the sand, the river still finding his road. When I'm alone, I just sit there. Yeah. I can hear him.
And how did the DSA come into being?
I started a little sporting club. Within the Staffordshire-Bull Terrier Club of the Netherlands, everything was gathered around showing the exposition of dogs, the exhibition of dogs. And I thought it was nice to start a little club with people that said that wanted to do a little bit more. They wanted to go out, have activities, long hikes, stuff like that. Go out with the dogs. Well, basically what I did. And I remember that you said to me, you said, "Why would you do it? You already done so many things for dogs and with dogs." And I remember that I said to you, "Well, if there's just another person that would come and join and have fun with dogs, for me it's worth it." And that got a bit out of hand, actually. It happens to be that there were a lot of people that wanted to go out with their dogs and have fun with the dogs in the forest and everywhere. There were people driving to our home from all over the country, and they stayed over for the night. They slept in a living room, you know. And we were going out, and all of a sudden that idea that I had way back in time about the sports for these dogs popped up, and we started talking about it with the people that we had in the club, and I laid down the platform of a little bit the ideas that we had. And I remember that we went to places, we had a fun day organized, we drove to Margate in Kent with what was his name, was from Lee Drury, and Anil Sherlock was also there, a few other people from connected to Mr. Reed. We drove there, we looked what we could use, what was available. We had some things that we did ourselves, and we looked at the way that the organization was done and how they used the point scores, and we could see what we could adopt from what they were doing. And we registered all that, we talked about it, we made a points system, we developed it from there. And then all of a sudden, somewhere, someday, there was the first DSA. The test was complete. And we went to many places. It was a very fun thing to do. Just to go to a lot of places, look at what people did with dogs, see what we could use, what disciplines were useful, what rules that they used, could we implement them in what we had in mind. And that's how we gave it. How do you say it? That's how it came to life. And it's not, there's a lot of people say, yes, I am the one behind it, but I'm not the one that did it all on himself. You know, there are a lot of people that we owe a lot to their participation in the development of it, and their thoughts and the things that they shared, and so it is really joint efforts. really joined efforts based on my ideas, and I'm until this day I'm very thankful for that. Very, very thankful for that.
And you went to Saint-Simon in Belgium every year. What did you do there, and what was so special about it?
Yeah, Saint-Simon is a very special place for me. It really has a little spot on the planet that's deep in the heart. I worked with fantastic kids, with assholes of parents, and they were misunderstood in society. And then, well, I know them so well, you know. I could feel that. And I was doing a lot of work with them outside in the field, doing camps, going out with them, make long hikes in the hills in Belgium. And Saint-Simon always was my base camp over the years that I did that job. And I always brought the kids there, and I brought many kids there, and to have a good time. And when I stopped doing that line of work, basically at the same time the first club was formed, and I wanted to take the club there as well, and see what we could do. And we have fantastic memories. Saint-Simon is when you think back at the first days of the club and the things that we did there. I remember that Frank van Elden, he's passed away. He was there, and another guy, and they had two dogos, and we were hiking in the forest, and I said to Neil Sherlock, I said, can you take Quinlent crewman for me up the hill? And he said, yeah, sure. I said, oh, be careful, mate, because the dog gives no warning. It just, and then I was up, and I was waiting, and he came up, and he looked a little bit, oh my God, and I said, what happened? Well, it's a bit like you said, mate. There was no warning, and he was straight into one of those dogo argentinos of the stories that happened there, the big campfires that we did, the wood that we stole from the farmer. He still doesn't know that we did it, I think. But we had these huge fires going on, and there was always a beer, there was always a hike, there were always sports going on. Fantastic. We met people from France, England, on that little place. And where we always had our cabin, there was always a little bit on top of a hill, and as soon as you stepped out, you would follow a road and it would go down, and you could see the sun go down. It was all so beautiful, really beautiful. Saint-Simon is a fantastic place. We went there a couple of years to find out that the people who owned the place where we always stayed lost their son in a motorcycle accident, and they stopped. And the park was closed. Really sad. But that's Saint-Simon. Yeah.
Quinten, what is your first memory of dog sports with your father?
Yeah, it's a very, very difficult question, because I started so young, when I was so little, and from when I was 3-4 years old till now, there have been so many memories. I can't really go back to just picking one as my first, but I have some very special memories. One in particular is when I had to go to school on Friday. I was still in, I think it's called elementary school or primary school, and it was on a Friday. And my dad would wake me up and he would say, Quinten, come, do you want to come to France today? And then I went to school, got home, grabbed my stuff, and we would just leave for France for the weekend, for a weekend full of dog sports, enjoying the scenery, having a nice walk there. We would also, or like always, go to Christophe, and he would prepare big tables of food and everything. And then when we had to go back on Monday, I of course had to go back to school, and then I was sick, so it was always very, how do you say that? It was a very nice trip, good memories, and basically every time we did that, because quite often, We had the same albums, like it was always Kings of Leon, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Metallica, stuff like that. And mainly the Kings of Leon album is still something I listen to every time I have to make a big travel or whatsoever. And it's basically for me an album filled with dog sport memories. So that's definitely a very special moment for me. And another one I recall, and it's with my first dog. It's not really my dog, but Ish, is when we had the Quinlent days back in the day, and I joined in on the spring pole competition together with Chevy. Chevy was the first dog I grew up with, and everything I did with him has a special place in my heart. And that spring pole competition was a really nice one. It was something that Chevy enjoyed doing a lot, and it's also one of the things I really started doing with the dogs myself. I remember training and really being under the scars and everything from the paws being completely dirty, and that particular spring pole competition on the Quinlent day is I think the very first thing that I ever won, like in a sports competition. And what we did is I had to send Chevy into the hang time or into the spring pole, and Rick had to send Bono into the spring pole, and they were both in that same ute bag and were tugging and hanging and everything. And then on a certain point my dad said, like, all right, the one that gets the dog back the first wins the spring pole cup or the spring pole trophy. And I really tried everything and calling him and being as happy as possible, and Rick even got himself some shit bags and a frisbee or whatsoever. I tried picking up some sticks, and at the end Chevy let go first and he came back to me, and that was my first ever win in the sports, but also a very special moment. I remember getting this very big trophy and some very nice pictures that are still in the wall of fame in our home. So that's definitely one to remember and to look back on. Yeah.
Nice. And what did you enjoy doing together the most?
Well, for what I loved doing most together with my dad is everything spontaneous. Everything not planned, everything where we would just grab stuff, go out, do something, have no idea where we would go or how things would end up. And I think those are the things that first of all characterize us the most, because we just like no preparation, just grab stuff and go. And these are also the moments that become the most special. It's always the things you do not plan or you do not think about beforehand that turn out to be very, very special and intriguing moments. So, for examples, getting lost in the woods while doing a hike, just going somewhere, and then after maybe 2 or 3 hours of walking, just grabbing a GPS system and say, where are we? And then try to find our way back to the car. I really love bike joring and doing that together with my dad. I think it's such a cool part of the sport. It's something you really do together with your dog, and it's also something that, especially on the single tracks, it's not only your dog racing, but it's also you steering. It's how do you say that? Je belevenis, je gevoel. I can't express it in English at the moment, but it's so special. It's I cannot describe it.
Adrenaline.
Yeah, it's also adrenaline, but the adrenaline is not I think it's not the main thing. But yeah, it's just everything. Doing it together
Teamwork?
with my dad, together with the dog. It's a team effort, and it just feels amazing. So I would definitely say as for what we do now as well, then getting on the bike and doing the most extreme trails, that's I love it. Yeah.
What is the most important thing you learned from him?
Well, also this is there is not one most important thing, but there are very important life lessons that I've learned throughout my life, just as a person, but also with dog sports. One thing is to never quit, to keep pushing, to be stubborn in the things we do, and to really keep moving forward, to get back up. I remember falling down on my face or into the bushes, or when bike joring, just slamming my upper leg on some roots, and my dad just being very tough, very strict, but that also taught me a lot of things, and just saying get back up on that bike and go and pop, and whining is for the pussies, we don't do that here. And that really is something that formed me as a person, and I'm very grateful for that. And another thing, and that's very, how do you say that, it's strange to look back on how things worked out. Is my dad used to have dog schools, dog centers, teaching people how to sport with the dogs and everything. And then as a very young child, basically, I think I was 10 or 12, something in between, my dad would just send me somewhere with a group of people and say, oh, all right, Quinten, you're gonna do this discipline with that group of people, explain it to them and get going. And I started doing that. And from that I learned to teach a bit and to help people with stuff. And then later I had to make a choice for which study I wanted to do, and I did a sports and movement study, and that's also where I found my love for free running, and then later for teaching, and then teaching free running. And then from teaching free running I started my own company, and I started teaching other things. And yeah, basically everything I do now in my job, my career, and everything I'm building up is based on that small part where my dad would say, Quinten, go there with the group of people, teach them. And now I'm standing in front of big classes, big groups, I'm giving workshops, shows, I'm being invited at schools. And yeah, basically everything I do in my job now started with that little group of people, with the dogs. So I think that would be like my two main things that really formed me as a person and is still visible in the things I do today. And I'm really, really thankful for that. I'm really grateful, and I'm proud as well. I'm proud to be the person I am. I'm proud to be a son of my father, and proud to be visibly a son of my father. Like I hear it from a lot of friends, like in the way I act, the way I do things, and they just say like, "Whoa, you really are a son of your parents," and that that makes me proud.
The office, how Marco calls his training field, is a beautiful place in nature. This fantastic training opportunity was granted to him by his good friends Ronald and Belinda. In the beginning, Marco trained his own dogs there. The large field that was initially intended as a frisbee field is now a place where people come together to train their dogs and socialize.
How do you build a strong connection with your dog?
Connections in life, they're all built the same way. Yeah, to develop a strong connection, you have to be willing to go deep, to take it beyond, to do extraordinary, search for a little danger, go through, be dead tired and move on. Find strength and courage in each other and all the things that you do. You know, it's the same when We were in Le Touquet with the Staffordshire-Bull Terrier Club of France, where we were walking for 30 kilometers along the beachside. There's a moment that everything gets tired and you just push through and you go on. And in the evening, when everything is done, that's where that connection starts to grow. And when you make it more difficult. The problem with people is today is that they cuddle themselves up too much in comfort. Connection is made in uncomfortable situations. Things where you need to depend on what the other has to offer. That's always when you do a very long walk and you see that the dogs are pulling you through, you know. And when you're tired, that you see them, that you see how they act and how they react. Building connection is about being reliable. Make sure that the animal knows what he's up to in your behavior. And but the most important thing is to pick up an adventure that is called life without any form of fear. And go for it. Bring the dog and the connection will come. Just a connection will come. If you sit in front of the TV, you'll get a frustrated dog on your lap. When you go out, you get a fantastic connection with the dog and stories to tell. That's how you do it.
Hopla! Dames en heren. Pak hem maar dan. 1, 2, 3. Te makkelijk, hè, godverdikke in mijn baan, dan moet je een beetje uitdagen, hè. Godverdikke. Oh, dat was een mooie. Goed. Kom op. Kom op. 2, 3, ja! 1, 2, 3, knappe meid weer, hè! Vieze koekje. Vieze koekje.
Fonzie.
Kom op, hè. Kom op, hè, Freddy, hè. Kom op, Fonzie. Hou vast, hè. Goed zo, Fonzie. Goed zo, Freddy. Kom op, hè. Ja.
And what makes your collaboration special?
I don't think that there is something that you can say this is special about what I do. The way I work with the dogs is always from a matter of respect. I have utterly big respect for what a dog can do, and when the dog understands the job, what you want from him to get where you want to go, and that he utterly loves what he or she is doing, then that's a part where I think you reach something very special. And when I do it when somebody else does it, somebody else does it. I think it's very, very honest to say that there are not many people that will take it as deep. And I think that I'm a little bit different in there, because I have I have a connection with them that is from a very young age. Which is very different compared to how most people grow up with dogs. The thing that makes it special, the things that make it special, what makes it really special, is that the dogs are born in our house. They come to the field and they know what they're going to do for the first time. It's in their genes. And to me that's very special. And understanding that and seeing that happen over the years is a very special thing. That's for me that's a very special thing. Yeah.
Hi Bas.
Hi.
Hi. How do you personally experience dog sports with Marco?
I experience dog sports with Marco as very informative. Marco teaches you a lot, not just about dogs and working with dogs, but he also teaches you a lot about yourself. Marco teaches you that doing dog sports is just as much about yourself as about the dog, and that can be very confrontational sometimes. He teaches you that how you act will have an effect on the dog. So Marco always teaches you to take a look at yourself first. So he's a really good teacher, a really good teacher.
What was your most special trainings moment with Marco?
Can I only pick one? The most special training moment. I don't have one in particular, but personally, my most favorite training moments were the ones where there were many training moments where we had some type of injury, because Marco and I both enjoy doing things that are fast and a bit dangerous, and we also like to stimulate each other. We do look out for each other when we go bike yoring or kick biking, but there were many moments in bike yoring and kick biking where one of us fell or we had some kind of accident, but it was always fun. And yeah, there were some injuries, plenty,
but it was always a good experience. And that is something that I personally share with Marco, is our love for that thrill-seeking with the dogs. So I don't have one, but all those thrill-seeking moments, yeah, those were my favorites.
Can you tell us about one moment?
The most funny moment was when we go kickbiking, we go on a mountain bike trail, preferably a single track. And in the Netherlands, when the track is not safe and not suitable to go on, they put signs there, or they place like tape, like red and white tape around the trees, so don't go here. And every single time that we encounter one of those trails, we decide to go on that trail. And Marco is always very specific. It cannot be that bad. So Marco goes first on the kick bike, I go straight behind him, and I think about 200 meters into the trail there was a dip, and it was full with water, and I saw Marco go down the hill, and his kick bike stopped, it flipped over, and he disappeared completely underwater, like he was completely underwater. Yeah, that was really funny. That was really funny.
Blub 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 moments.
Yeah, yeah. And of course we always ask, is everything all right? But yeah, it was very funny. It was really fun.
Goed zo, doe maar. Yep. Jo. Daar gaan we weer, hè. En naar rechts. Ja, achter mij aan, hè. Ja, maar rechts, jongens. Goed zo. Doe maar. Wee, kom op, hè. Doe maar. Hoppa. Ja, dan wachten we daar. Lekker mannen. Doe maar, kom aan. Hier, ready. Goed zo, Fonzie. Goed zo, kom. Goed zo, Frans, kom op, Freddy. Lekker. Jip, hè. Jo. Goed zo. En even wachten, jongens. Goed zo, jongens, kom op. Doe maar, ja, braaf. Doe maar. Goed zo, kom op. Bravo. Jip, come on. Come on, chop.
The DSA, the Dutch Stafford Athletics, is a kind of Olympic game especially developed for bull and terrier types. It includes 10 parts in which speed, strength, agility, tenacity and perseverance are tested. The cooperation between owner and dog is of great importance.
What do you think is the essence of dog sports? What is it all about at its core?
The essence of dog sport is to test. That's the essence of this sport, is to test. And in the core it's the connection. And the connection is the core, and the test is the essence. And that sums it all up, basically. The connection that you have, the test that you do, to bring it to its highest level as possible. That's it. It's a very, 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 very clear answer for this. That's what it is.
And what have been your biggest challenges in the dog sport?
Biggest challenges? Dealing with people. Dealing with people. Biggest challenge. I can be sometimes a little bit too clear for people to deal with. And I am completely allergic to ego in dog sports. That was very challenging to deal with that and to find a way to cope with that. I like the challenges. The challenges are often the organization. As soon as I do sports, as soon as I kick off with my dogs, I'm just there. I'm not thinking about things. So the sports on their own for me are never a challenge. On the moment that I do it. I remember when the first time that I said I want to do this Stafford Athletics test that we normally do in 3 days. I want to do it in one. And that Thor said, "Dog's going to shit blood when you do it like that." But I did it. I wanted to see if it was possible, and it was possible. And that was a very big challenge, because I had no idea if it was. It was just an idea. And I think still till today, that is the toughest challenge that you can do with a dog within a humane perspective. To put in these 10 disciplines in a row and play it as harsh as it is. The DSA in 1 day is a challenge. It's the most challenging challenge that you can have with dogs. Is that as soon as you do not get in our system, we work with stars, and the highest star that you can get is a black one. As soon as you do not reach the black star on the discipline, you're disqualified straight away. And that's something that I really like, because it's a very close reflection to life. If you're not up to the game to the fullest, it stops. And that for me is that's the most beautiful challenge you can have. That's because for me it reflects life. Life is a challenge, and in my life in dogs, I want to reach out to the maximum possible, because that's what life is about. That's what in my view, that's what everything that lives owes to life itself, to get the maximum out of it.
And what are your most memorable successes?
The question that you asked me throughout this entire interview are none of them is easy to answer. There was one that was particularly easy to answer. My biggest success in the sport isn't in the sport, it is the sport. That's my biggest success. For me, I'm not into the competitive side of things. So for me, the sport, and the way it is going. That's my biggest success. Just try to imagine that there is. We live here in the Netherlands, and I'm just one guy, and I do one thing with dogs. And you have people from Lithuania towards Brazil doing the same thing. You can win 100 trophies. It doesn't beat that. It doesn't beat that. It's the most beautiful thing that people can give you. That's the biggest reward. And I get that from the people, and I get that from the dogs. When we organize and we have a tournament and I see these faces. Even sometimes it was this last DSA where a number of dogs ruined their paws a bit, and they come walking by, limping a little bit, and they look up to you like this, oh fucker, you know. It's a big reward. It means it's done something extraordinary, and the sport on its own, just the sport. To bring that into existence and to see the fun it brings to so many people. That's my biggest success, I think.
Hi Alice.
Hello.
How do you met Marco?
I met Marco about 14 years ago. I'm from France and I was looking for a Staffordshire-Bull terrier and especially to do sport with it. And I didn't find in France, in my own country. And I found him on the internet, Facebook and the forum. And I was like, wow, I found a picture of Quinlent to l'amour Joe. And I fell in love.
Yes.
So I was 22 years old and I say, okay, I write to him. He answered to me. And this way we start to speak together about having a pup.
I actually found out who Marco was when there was this old discussion group called Bull Priest Online in internet kind of ways years back. And then I had some discussions with him there. And then during 2010 or 9, one of my breeding colleagues in Finland, a lady called Marjut, it's an old lady breeding for a fix called Hoopstuff, and they were searching a new blood for Finland. And then I decided that, okay, I've been following these lines and I would like to know more of them, and maybe we could kind of import something from Netherlands. And then I sent my first message to Marco. And I kind of sent that, okay, I'm speaking for another kennel and we're trying to find new blood for Finland. And then I started discussing with him. And we were trying to find out new combinations that he was planning. And then after that, we found a combination that was kind of interesting also for me. And then I said, okay, if you're going to do this kind of breeding, I would like to have one of your dogs, that I could take that dog to my home. And after that, we kind of started having discussions and we had a phone call. And then I came here to pick up my rhino, Quinlent.
Yeah, rhino.
Yeah, and it was kind of really fun experience because when I visit here, I was kind of 3 days here, and I joined your family, and I was kind of part of the family and with the training, and it was a really lovely time. So yeah, I guess it started from there.
I had Amstaff before many years ago, and I think it's now about 15 years maybe, since 16 maybe, and we had the BSL in Norway. So I was looking for Stafford, and I didn't find any types I liked in Norway. So I started searching online, and I saw dogs like Bob and Blossom and all these Chevy and all these, and I said, this is the kind of dog I want. So I contacted Marco. I think it was a message at first, and if I can remember it right, we then did the phone call, and he actually invited me over to Holland. And first time I came with the plane, and he picked me up in the airport. And that's how we first met, and we developed a very good friendship. And it's, as we talked about before, a lot happened these years. But many people have come and gone, but the good one is still around.
What makes Marco different in the dog sport, for me, it's the goal of the DSA at first, the idea to make this tournament this way. It is for the selection of dogs, so it makes this tournament a competition between you and your dogs. It's only you and your dogs. You don't even know what other people are doing, and you are not focused on it. You are not focused on winning. You are not focused on performance. You have your own goal. And since 15 years, it's still the same mentality. And I have tried other kind of competition. I have met a lot of people on the dog sport in different countries, and it always change. The winning and the performance becomes the goal, but not at the GSA. So this is the biggest difference to me, and it is what makes Marco and the DSA this special. We keep a good mentality. It's more like a holiday than like a true competition, and it gives you much more emotion.
Mm-hmm. It's the connection.
It's only the connection between you and your dogs.
Yes.
You can have some goals, you can have some expectation about what you want your dog to do, but it's only because of himself, the dog himself, you know him,
yes. Mm-hmm.
So you can have some goal with it, but not focus on the other dogs and other people you even don't know. The second difference is experience. He has a lot of experience with so many dogs. He have trained so many dogs. He knows the bully bred especially very well, and it's always very interesting discussion with him about it. So to me, this is the biggest difference with the other competition I know.
Yes.
For me, he's been my mentor in dog sports all these years, and what's making him special is the passion and the he has very much knowledge of the breed and the sports, and very what can I say, wise when it comes to those things. So and his passion to keep it on for so long when it's when a lot of things happen, not just good things, also bad things. It's really nice, and for me, it's always been like a friendship. We don't talk every day, but we can talk about just about anything.
What makes him special and what makes him Marco is that he shares a lot to others, and I think he knows a lot of the breed, and he's always willing to help people, no matter what is the reason, what do you need or what do you want, he's there for you. So it's kind of really important to have people like that, and who can kind of support you with your dogs, with your kind of breeding, and these disciplines are kind of perfect for everyone. You can kind of enjoy life with dogs and enjoy life with active things with your dogs. So it's, I don't know, he is who he is, and it's kind of important to have people like him in the world. It's really, really something we need. Yeah, so
It's so sweet.
yeah, but it's like, yeah, he is one of a kind, I would say, and he has been here kind of many years, supporting to many people. And I know that there has kind of been people who has been involved in his life, but they aren't there anymore. But I know that they have kind of received a lot of information from him, even though they are not together anymore. But I know that there has been kind of a lot of people who has been kind of also learning from him. And he's also taking a lot of, because people think that he's the one who knows everything, and he kind of he doesn't listen to anyone. He just has his own mind, and he do things like he wants. But yeah, in a way he does. But then again, he always listens, and he always follows other people, and he also learns a lot every time. Even though you don't kind of teach him or say that you have to do things like this, he's always there listening and kind of learning and by seeing different people. So I think it's really important to be kind of that kind of, I don't know how to say it, but he's really unique. Yeah.
Stuff who makes him very different and special. It's the way he works with dogs. It's with the heart and the feelings. He feels the dog. He don't just observe how the dog run or something. He also touch him. It's the first one I see make some massage a few years back already. He teach me, feel how your dog breathes, how he is. You will know when it's the right moment to send him. So he has a special connection with dogs, and I think it's maybe the most important thing with him.
Hi Barry. How did you meet Marco, and how do you look back on that?
How did I meet Marco? Well, I remember the first time I met Marco, and I can tell you exactly when it was. It was the 6th of December 2013. That's the first time I met Marco in person. I travelled over to Holland to meet the dogs, to meet the man. I think I first became aware of Marco maybe 4 or 5 years before that though. I think it was on the old Bull Breeds forum, and there wasn't many like-minded people. There was a lot of show people, there was a lot of people with different ideas, and Marco was a guy, when I saw him writing things, that it struck a chord with me, you know. I liked his way of thinking, so I think that's when I first became aware of Marco. And as I said then, maybe 3-4 years after that, as I said, sometime December 2013, that's when I first flew over to Holland to meet Marco, and, you know, to sit down and meet the family, meet yourself, meet everybody, and to come and see the dog. So that was the first time. And as I said, it was just from what I knew of him on the Bull Breeds forum, and I just wanted to meet the guy and the dogs in person.
What is your best memory together?
Best memory together. When Marco asked me to judge the first DSA show that I judged, that was probably the best memory for me. For someone that I respect to ring me and ask me to come and judge his dog show, that was a really nice kind of thing for me. when people you respect ask you and trust your opinion as well, it was a lovely moment for me. And then I was asked to judge it again. So, I think that's probably the best moment for me, to be asked, by one of your peers. And I'll give you some dates even on that one. That was 2017, DSA 2017. And my best dog on the day was Quinlent Superman. So it all worked out that day. Okay. Well, first off, Marco, happy birthday. I hope you're being spoiled. I know you're being spoiled. It's fine. So again, look, just a few words from myself. So I wrote a couple of things down, that I think, need to be mentioned by people. When they think of Marco, they should think of certain things, and I think of these. Obviously the DSA, to have come up with an idea like that, to put it into test, to have offered everybody a sport, to giving people a place to come to bring their dogs. The spirit of the event, everybody is trusted to judge and to score their own event. It's a nice ethos, the whole idea of the DSA. Come, bring your dog, compete, be honest, be trustworthy. It's very impressive to see what that's turned into with, FSA, whatever, all the different branches, be it France, Italy, wherever it is, to have created something like that is truly amazing. So well done. After that, just to look at what you've done with breeding dogs, I'll tell anybody, I think you're the best Stafford breeder in the world. Quite simply, I enjoy your dogs. I like what they are. They're proper Staffords. You've bred whole families of dogs. There's the Connemara Strongbow crosses. There's dogs like Cruel Man, Chevy, Bohemian Rhapsody. All these dogs, and it's all woven together. There's families in families, and the way you're able to breed between them is very, it's important, and it's good work. What you've done for people, as people, again, in Italy, France, or whatever, I know that you've given dogs to people. You've given stud dogs to people. You've started whole families of dogs. You've started your family of dogs. You've given people, and they have now started families of dogs with your dogs. And that's a testament to your hard work and the quality of the dogs. People wouldn't do it if they weren't quality. It's as simple as that. There's certain dogs as well. Quinlent Cruel Mistress. I wrote down certain names. Tullamore Dew, Four Roses. Just amazing dogs. Once in a lifetime dogs. But yeah, you keep on producing them regularly, which is, it's not easy to do. So again, well done you. Again, I suppose as a legacy, I think really, you'll be remembered for the DSA, for the offshoots of that, for the family of dogs that you've produced, and help other people produce. I think that's what people will remember you for in another 35 years or something, And then there's Marco himself, I'm an Irish guy, and I think Marco, just typically Dutch. He's a big man with a big personality, that's Marco. But what I suppose I often see a lot of with Marco, be it on Facebook or wherever, is Marco the family man. He's always celebrating and championing Quinten and Lenja. He's always pushing his kids. He's always very proud of his kids, and I think that's lovely to see. And it's lovely to see at the DSA events when the whole family's there, and it's rare. You don't see whole families doing events together. When the kids are in their 20s, it doesn't happen. So the fact that they seem willing and want to be there, I think it's a credit to the pair of you, how you've raised your kids. And yeah, I think that's really I've said a lot, so
Yeah, that's
probably
very
as much as I
lovely.
can say. Marco, he's a force of personality. You know, he's a forceful, strong guy with good ideas, and he's willing to test them and to debate his ideas and to prove them. And respect.
Marco loves to search and explore boundaries. For himself, his dogs and his peers. He possesses an inner strength and confidence, what makes that every dog feels noticed.
Doe maar.
Marco loves to use humor during his training. He enjoys the antics the dogs pull off. In the process, things break, which always results in stories to tell over a drink at the campfire with friends.
Come on. Yip, 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 yip. Goed zo, lieverd.
Bike touring on single track is by far his favorite kind of dog sport. Trying to find ways to own a track at such level, time limits are often broken.
Goed zo. Doe maar. Hop, 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 hop. Goed zo, lieverd schat. Ai. Goed zo. Links. Braaf. Doe maar. Hoppa, kom op hè. Doe maar. En rechtdoor. Jip, jip. Braaf schat. Hop, 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 hop. Kom aan. Ja, kom aan. Hop, hop, hop. Goed zo. Lekker. Rechts. Goed zo. Doe maar. Jip, 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 jip. Bravo. Hop, 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 hop. Goed zo. Ja, goed zo, lekker. Doe maar. Hop, 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 hop. Dat is braaf. Dat zijn de bochtjes. Lekker hoor, kom op, meisje. Tuurlijk. Die moet omhoog. Jip, 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 jip. Kijk, die hebben ze gefixt, dat is fijn. Doe maar. Links naar beneden, daar gaan we. Hoppa. Goed zo. Tjap, 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 tjap. Dat is braaf, kom op. Tja. Hop, 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 hop. Hop, hop, hop. Goed zo. Doe maar. Rechts, links, links. Mag, doe maar. Tjap, tjap, tjap. Doe maar. Tjip, 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 tjip. Keurig schat. Lekker hoor. Doe maar, doe maar, doe maar, doe maar. Lekker.
How did you meet Marco and how do you look back on that?
Okay, so my first dealings with Marco were back in sort of 2005. I can't remember precisely, but over here in the UK, I started finding out about Staffordshire-Bull Terrier athletic days. My family had always had Staffordshire-Bull Terriers, and when I found out about the athletic days that were happening here, I went along, and through meeting people there, I found out about Marco's dogs, and people were talking about the Quinlent line over here, and so I think that we initially started talking after some interactions on bull breed forums and places like that, and then I managed to come over to Holland with a friend of mine, and we met Frank. I can't remember Frank's second name, unfortunately, but met Frank, and then I believe that I first met Marco in Holland around about 2000, in between 2005 2010. Yeah. My interactions, I hope he agrees, but I think we got on straight away. We seem to think the same way about dogs. I instantly understood how committed and how intensely in love he was with the breed, and I think pretty much we had the same ideas about the dogs, how they should be, and my conversations with Marco were always, I instantly understood that he's a very intelligent man who understands the breed inside and out. So, a little while back now. Okay, so regarding Marco's contributions to Staffordshire-Bull Terriers, and what I think, how he's helped, and especially probably lots of people, not just including myself, is you get to understand through your talkings with Marco how the breed was, what the breed was all about, its various different functions. I mean, the depth of Marco's knowledge about breed history and how to retain those characteristics can't be underestimated. You don't see it many times. I haven't met many people that are able to talk about dogs and their breed with such passion and so articulately. One man that stands out to me in the UK is Lyndon Ingalls, the Bull Terrier breeder, and the only other man that I think I've had those sort of discussions with is Marco. And I think, they're very rare people, and I just wish there was a few more of them. Unfortunately, we only get one or two, and maybe that's the best thing about it. You only get to see diamonds a couple of times in your life, So I'm very thankful for my dealings with Marco.
That's beautiful. How would you describe Marco?
For me, when I first met Marco, when I first came to Holland, I realised how tall people are, how big people are. Marco's not the tallest, but when you meet him, he's quite an imposing figure, especially with that big beard. He comes across as quite a strong-looking man, and he's very forthright with how he talks to you. And that can be, I suppose, for some people, that might be a bit unsettling, imposing. But I found him the kindest and gentlest man, very willing to talk and to discuss, not just to fire his opinions at you, but he will discuss things with you. And I've had many discussions with Marcos about dogs, and he's explained things to me that's about Staffordshire-Bull Terriers that I'm very thankful for. He was always took the time to explain things to me, I never really understood the differences, what was required within the original Staffordshire-Bull Terrier. My job in the UK, I shoot horses, and my job is to understand the mechanics of animals, how levers work and how bones work. And a couple of things that Marco put across to me was the importance of the proportions of the animal and the importance of stamina over endurance, which is something that I found many people within the breed don't really understand. They want to see intensity in a dog, but they don't understand how the mechanics of the animal will enhance that. And he always took the time to explain these points to me, which are very fine, detailed points. So yeah, how would I describe him? Big, strong, but also takes the time to talk to you quietly and has explained many things to me which I will always hold on to. They're very important points. Also very welcoming. I mean, I've stayed at your house. You've always been very welcoming. A couple of times, 3 or 4 times, I think I've been over to Holland. I've had the best times. I've always been very well looked after, very welcoming. Knows a lot about the dogs and knows how to welcome people into his house and have good conversations about the animals, you know. So yeah, I've always enjoyed his company.
What would you still like for the future regarding the DSA?
Well, for the future, it's a little bit what was Alice that wrote it, I think, after this DSA, that she said, thank you so much for not changing it over the last 15 years. Just kept it the way it was intended, the way it is. And if for the future, I hope that is a situation, that it will be kept organized the way it is, just the way it is, nothing more, nothing extra. That's one of the things, and that more and more people will understand that what we do has nothing to do with ego, nothing. That's what I want for the future of the DSA. That's what I want. It's not what I want for the DSA is not that it becomes an award thing where people can win a lot of prizes and stuff like that, to pat themselves on the shoulder, saying, oh, how good they were with their dog. I hope that the appreciation is done for the dog that has done the best test and had the best test result, and that we honor that the way it is. And that's how it's meant to be, and that's how I hope it will stay.
Yes.
That's what I really hope. Yeah.
And what are your personal wishes regarding to dog sports?
That it will persevere in time. I really hope that. As humans, we were relying on dogs in a world where we couldn't rely on our own senses. We didn't have good hearing. We couldn't hear predators come. We were not fast enough to hunt down a deer. We needed dogs for all that. And dog sports is for me is a modern reflection of that what is in our DNA also. But the modern situation is that human more and more take distance from their natural background. And in dogs we really feel that a lot. In breeding dogs we're The dog breeder was, at least in the Netherlands, often is the idiot. We're always pointed out as money-making criminals with no sensitivity for the dogs whatsoever. And more, the politics are really doing a horrible job on dogs. They're really doing a horrible job. They interfere in something that was good, and they put their they're bringing in the efforts, and you feel it in the sport, you feel it in this, you feel it in a lot of things. The pampering of people, the people with no backbone that are sitting behind computers these days, that don't know anything, that don't know how to take long distance walks, they don't know how to do sports, not for themselves, not alone for their dogs, who are pampering them, who think that you can better do a medical test instead of see if the dog can run for yourself. Those people are really ruining a lot, and I hope for the dog sports in the future. I really hope that they get the fuck out. I'm not even trying to say that friendly. Just get the fuck out of this part of life. Go sit behind your PC that you adore so much. Be as quick on writing, but please write about something that does not live. And let life live. Let life live, and let sports be sports. Because sports is intensified living. Yes.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
With my lifestyle. Where I am today. I have no wishes for the future, other than I think everything is perfect as it is. I feel very comfortable in life, in sports, my companionships, as a father with my children, as a husband to you. Nothing has to change for me. So if I survive another 10 years, let it be like this. I need nothing more. Life's good the way it is.
And what would you like to pass on to other sports enthusiasts?
Take it one step beyond. Always. Take it one step beyond. That's what I want to say to everybody, in every dog sports, in everything. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I love you.
Love you too.
Ik heb